like yoga has been a mirror and it has sort of shown me my impatience, it has shown me my anger, it has shown me my ego. But I just realized in this journey that it's about doing what you enjoy and then let people follow seeing you. Hi everyone, my name is Akeen and I have Kavya here with me. Both Kavya and me are yoga practitioners and teachers. The reason for us to really start this channel is to speak about real yoga and to keep the essence of yoga alive. We're really excited to be here, excited to have some lovely guests here. So hope you enjoy the journey along with us. We're going to discuss a few topics today, and the first one being what does yoga really mean to us? So, Kavya, tell me, what do you think yoga really means, and what does yoga really mean to you?
Yeah, I would just like to say that I'm so excited that we are finally able to do this. We have been discussing about it for such a long time. And yeah, I think yoga, Akin, you would agree that it's not just what we practice on the mat. It has completely transformed our lives in and out. And now it is, for me personally, yoga is not just what my asana practice looks like, but everything, how I reflect my thoughts, how I reflect my actions, how I eat, how I sit, how I behave. Because what truly yoga tells you is your journey in your life, managing life, and also at the same time finding that returning to yourself. So now when I step onto my mat, it is more about returning to myself, getting trying to identify what my center, what my real nature is, apart from whatever roles I play in life. And then sometimes it just becomes like finding solace or reconciling within yourself. And I think that what has yoga has transformed into for me, which is again, I think so important for all of us teachers and practitioners to recognize. Otherwise, it doesn't become a part of your life. It just stays as a separate thing that you do, like going to the gym or going for a walk. And this translation of yoga into everything that you do is very crucial.
100%. I think for me as well, I feel like yoga has been a mirror and it has sort of shown me my impatience, it has shown me my anger, it has shown me my ego, along with it showing me, my strengths and my compassion. So I feel like it has brought me closer to myself. And because it has brought me closer to myself, I feel subsequently with my relations around me, I've been able
Mhm.
to understand them better as well. And Kavya, when I started this journey, I came onto the mat thinking that, oh, wow, I'm so flexible. Oh, I want to be doing this pose correctly. Or it was all about movement at that time.
Yeah.
But, as I went deeper into this path, I realized that it's about how we live life and, how our day-to-day moments are with yoga and how it changes um, our relationships, our own nature, everything there.
You know
So,
what you
yeah,
True. You know what you said about like when you started, you wanted to be flexible and you wanted to do every pose right. I think
yeah,
all of us, somewhere or the other, we start with the physical practice.
yeah,
And initially, like after some years, when I was like that as well in my initial journey, and then after some years, I started looking down upon myself. Like, oh my God, how could have I been so obsessed with the physical practice? But then one of my
exactly.
teachers, he told me this, that unless you first give love to your ego, or you boost your ego a little bit, you will never be able to sort of come away from it. Because in the initial aspect, we somewhere need to acknowledge that yes, I'm good enough. Yes, I am worthy enough of this practice, because all of us in our day-to-day life, we somewhere like just bring ourselves down all the time. And
Correct.
if you step on your mat and you want flexibility and you want strength, and you're able to achieve it, you're able to achieve some amount of self acceptance through your practice, it isn't a bad thing at all. But
That's
tell me
true.
about
Yeah.
like you now have a fa like you have had a family all along and you have two kids. How do you manage it? Do you try to teach them yoga as well in any aspect or yeah, just what
Not really. I feel like this is not something that can really be taught until it doesn't come from within. So I have realized that if I practice it, they will just, it's important that I do what I do, and then they just learn along the way. In fact, speaking of that, Kavya, my husband was very anti yoga. Like for the last 10 years ago, he used to be like, oh, this is such a slow thing. I'm going to go to the gym. He tried everything possible. And now he and me speak so much about yoga. So, and not that I advocated it at home, or I said that, I may have said it once, twice, but then when he used to be so off it, I used to not say anything. But I just realized in this journey that it's about doing what you enjoy and then let people follow seeing you. And same with the kids right now. They don't particularly, yes, one thing they say, oh, mom, but then you practice yoga. So then you should be calm all the time. And that is such a myth. And that is something I get really upset about because
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, but the humanness in me is still there. And
Yeah.
I am still a human. And there are moments where I do get triggered and I will get angry. But the good thing is that I come back to myself faster. And that is what people really need to understand, that just because we are practitioners, that doesn't mean that we're always calm and we're always peaceful.
Exactly. That I think is just a Instagram or the social media aesthetic where it's Om Shanti Shanti.
Yeah.
Nothing bad about it, but I have seen people getting tattoos of Shanti and Om and peace, but it just does not reflect. Life happens and life is so
Yeah.
unpredictable. You do not know what your mind will bring out of you in a
Yeah.
particular situation. And I think like nowhere, if you even read the yoga philosophy or the practice, or if you have been with the right teachers, they will not force you to change anything about yourself. It has to come from within. And that change can take such a long time. Like, you might acknowledge some aspect about yourself, about your personality, which you are not 100% sure is benefiting you. But changing it takes a long time and a lot of, as I said, like self acceptance, a lot of self acceptance that yes, I will move towards that. I will, like let's say if you're angry in certain situations where you don't want to be, but to come to that conclusion that yes, I have conquered myself is the
Yeah.
path of yoga. And yeah, nowhere it is
100%. Yeah.
written
Yeah.
that you have to be this to start the practice or you have
Yeah.
to change immediately just because you have been practicing for 1 or 2 years.
Or that you have to be flexible if you want to do
Exactly.
yoga, or you have to, yeah, there's so many shoulds and should nots, right? That
Even, you
people
know,
have in their heads.
exactly. Talking about should and should nots, let's just do a segment where we talk about a couple of should and should nots and what you think are legitimate. So I'll ask you first, what do you think about the diet, like the vegan or the vegetarian diet that is so popularized?
I mean,
Should,
honestly, you do whatever you want to do and what you've grown up eating. You can be a non-vegetarian and still practice yoga. You can be a vegan and still
yeah,
practice yoga. I feel it's all about moderation.
I
And
100% agree, yeah.
and even the Yoga Sutras speak about it that whatever you do, do it in moderation. So yeah, there is no should that you should become a
Yeah.
vegan just because you're on the path of yoga, or you should stop eating onion garlic completely just because you're on the path of yoga. I believe it is, um, yeah, as I said, moderation.
And I
Yeah.
think also a lot of there should be like your discrimination towards something. Like if you are practicing a certain sadhana, like sometimes on particular times in my life where I want to really get deeper into my pranayam practice, I would start skipping dinner so that I'm prepared in the morning. But I cannot follow that through the like for my entire life because I do have a social life and I step out and I meet people for dinners. So I think that moderation along with your discrimination that whatever my sadhana needs at that time. Okay. The
Yes.
other one is what do you think about lying? Because in yoga we have ahimsa and we have the yamas and niyamas. And I'm asking this from the lens of people who work in corporates or people who have a job. And in those situations, in certain situations, there's some amount of lying that is involved, which you feel is correct or you can justify it to yourself. What do you think? Does yoga have anything to say about it?
I personally feel that if the intent is right, then it's the intent that is the most important thing. So sometimes we're all living in a world, in a changing world, and particularly speaking about corporate, where there are times where you do end up having to say white lies. But as long as the intent is right, and
Yeah.
as long as there is no real harm, then I think it is fine because we are all living in a sansaric world where we have to, do certain things for a living.
True.
Um, yeah, yeah.
I think you're just because you want to speak the truth and it comes at a cost of hurting someone else's feeling,
Someone else, yeah, yeah.
it's not worth it.
Which is
But
again hurting someone else's feeling also becomes ahimsa of sorts,
yeah,
right? So,
exactly.
or even lying to yourself, or not, is also a sort of ahimsa, right? So, uh, yeah, I guess.
That is very true.
So, Kavya, you're based in Delhi, right?
Yeah.
So what are the changes in yoga you have seen over these years
I
in
you know
Delhi as a city?
yeah.
Like in the events you probably have attended, in the classes you have conducted, what are the changes you have seen?
So I think I started around 2017 and I first went to Shivananda Yoga. I don't know if you have heard about them. They
Yes,
have
yes.
centers in multiple cities and they also have ashrams. So I did a course, a beginner's course with them, and they follow the proper traditional Hatha Yoga path of teaching classes even in their centers in Delhi. And at that time, I feel like that was the only option that I had close to my house to just go to their center. But now a lot, since post COVID, a lot of people did a 200-hour and a 300-hour, and they even like, just people who never thought of doing yoga because they had that time and everything became online. That's all these TTCs also happened online. A lot more yoga teachers are there now. I think probably in the West as well, where you are in London. So after that, a lot of teachers they opened up their studios and they have started putting in this initiative of organizing workshop or organizing specific classes. But in Delhi, I still feel there's a lack of a proper yoga community as such because again it's a big city, it is very capitalistic. People want to come for events like a yoga plus brunch or hot yoga or a aerial yoga class, but the traditional yoga scene, which you might find in Mysore or Rishikesh, where dedicated yoga practitioners come, is still missing out in Delhi a little bit. But for sure, they are. If a teacher is intended on what they truly want to offer, it happens, and it's a lot more for sure than what it was earlier. People did not know about it, but now everyone, at least, no matter what they do, whether or not they play pickleball or they go for a run or they go to the gym, they have tried a yoga class for sure. What about London? Like you have been there, and I see you attending a lot more events now
Yeah,
in
yeah.
London. What's happening?
I think London has gotten much better. It used to be very asana oriented, and a lot of the teachers would just focus at gyms, and most of these classes would happen in the gyms, and it would just be primarily asana focused. But now it has gotten better. Lots of events happen in London because London being such a central place. And a lot of teachers come from all over, whether it's India or whether it's US, and conduct events. And those events are really very good because they try and incorporate yoga sadhana, yoga philosophy. They try and incorporate the Vedic chants. They try and incorporate everything because it's more like a 3 day, 4 day event. But in general, just in London, similarly, I really miss that yoga community, the traditional yoga feel. There are a lot of teachers, and like you rightly said, post COVID, there have been a lot of yoga teachers, but I feel the traditional yoga essence is missing. It's more asana focused. the Vedic chants, the mantra chanting, more depth of pranayama. That I feel in general is missing. At least I haven't come across it in the area I live. I wish there was more of that in that
True.
field. Yeah.
I was in Rishikesh sitting by the Ganga, and I got into a conversation with one of someone from, I think they were somewhere in Europe, and they had just come to India for the first time. And you know what they said to me? That, oh, so everyone in India practices yoga, right? Because India is the birthplace of yoga. And I
Yeah.
laughed at it, but later on I felt quite sad about it because although it is the birthplace of yoga, India is the birthplace, it is the practice has been so diluted or lost that
Yeah.
even in India, we have to market yoga as, this and that to just bring people to the classes. And people do not want like the traditional yoga because, again, we are, I think, moving away from the roots of it so much
Yeah.
that the essence is getting quite diluted. But
And you're right. It is sad to know this that India just copies the West blindly. And and the West is now practicing yoga, which has originally come from India. And they practice it and they practice only asanas. India is also doing that, forgetting that there's so much more to it.
exactly, exactly. I think the initially there was this, I would say misunderstanding that yoga is religion. Now it is being cleared out in the West, especially
Yeah.
that people started understanding chants and all the traditions of saying namaste. There was so much controversy around it that you should not say namaste in your class because
Yes.
it is some kind of a religion. But I'm glad some teachers stood up and they raised their voice that it is not a
Yeah.
particular religion. The chants that we have in yoga, the mantras, are not particularly, they're just invoking what is present around you or the
Yeah.
universal divinity. It's invoking
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And
Very intention based and
exactly.
very, yeah, absolutely. Correct.
And
Correct.
even in now in India, some people have resistance towards it, or so I think that element of understanding yoga as a religion, once it is settled, then people are more willing to practice everything that encompasses yoga rather than
Correct.
just
Correct.
asanas.
100%. Yes.
Yeah,
No, very true.
that is what is. I feel like some this there should be more teachers wanting to serve what truly yoga is rather than just falling into the trap of offering what customers want. And I
Yes.
think then there is always a market. Once your intention is right with, I want to offer this as traditional yoga, people in the long run, they do come and they do understand. I have had students who initially were not ready for it, and at that time I didn't push it, but now they're so curious about knowing what yoga is, what philosophy is, what learning in ashrams look like. They constantly keep asking me to not teach them asana and just discuss philosophy. So people do open
Beautiful.
up, I think.
Yeah. And also a lot of chanting, a lot of things is backed by science now. A lot of pranayam practices are backed by science now. So I think the moment we start bringing the modern science with the traditional yogic tradition,
Exactly.
uh, then it sort of makes more sense to everyone. And then everyone wants to then pursue it, knowing that it is doing so much to our bodies.
True, true, very true. I think we cannot hate science. We cannot be like, oh, yoga and science are so like two rivals or separate. Once there
Yeah,
once there is acknowledgement from the science background, the practices feel more sort of correct for people. And if that is what people need to start practicing, then why not? All the science in the world is welcome.
absolutely, absolutely. So true. So
I
true.
think
My own children started doing a little bit of Om because I told them that science has so much to say about it. Now that they do it regularly, I would wish for them to do it regularly, but yeah, it made more sense to them when I explained to them from the science perspective.
wonderful. Yeah, I think on that note, I think, Akin, that this was such a lovely conversation, and I cannot wait to meet again and discuss
Yeah,
all that we have and all that we have just been, discussing on calls and WhatsApp messages. So,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
we will be having a lot more people who are our friends and our teachers in the same field in our
Yes.
episodes to discuss more
Yes.
on this. So I'm very
Yes.
excited.
Yes. I'm so excited to share, learn so much from everyone on
Yeah.
this platform. So, yes, really looking forward to it.
Shall we conclude with a prayer today?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do that.
Let's bring our palms together in Pranjali Mudra, taking a soft inhale and a long exhale, and we'll chant the Purna mantra, inhaling gently. Om.
Om
Mm. Purnamada
Madav
Purnamidam
Purnamidam
Purnat
Purnat Purnam
Purnamudachyate
Uchastate
Purnas
Purnasya
Purnamadaya
Purnamadaya
Purnameva
Purnameva Vashishyate.
Om
Om
Shanti
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 Shanti.
Shanti.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is lovely.